Note the disclaimer. Hello everyone, my name is Dominic and welcome to Dom's Reviews, where I review anything and everything animated. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, say it right now, so that everyone can hear it, so that everybody knows. I am a DC guy. I like Marvel, got no beef with Marvel, but to me, nothing is more classic than the DC superheroes that I grew up watching. DC has given us action, adventure, mystery, horror, all kinds of genres in comic books. But when their comics are animated and put on the big screen, DC gets so much better. Yeah, we could talk about how Marvel live-action movies trounce DC any day of the week, but when it comes to animation, Detective Comics is second to none. So I'm gonna give you my top 10 DC animated movies of all time. This list doesn't just include the DC Universe animated original movies, this list also includes any and all animated movies that have to do with DC superheroes. Now just so you know, this is my opinion. If you don't agree with it, kudos to you, fuck me. We all have different opinions and I'm so glad that I can share my views on YouTube. So let's get started with number 10.
Clark.
Number 10. Justice League: The New Frontier. What's to say about Justice League: The New Frontier? It's a great story about the origin of the Justice League based on the comic book series of the same name. You see the lives of each major DC superhero and their interactions with society after the Vietnam War. Basically, an alien race called the Sentry threatens to take over the world, and the newly formed alliance of heroes around the world work together to stop the menace. What I liked most about this film was the connection between America at the time and the superheroes involved. Right now, currently, you don't really think what would happen if Superman was trying to take down ISIS, or if the Joker was trying to sabotage the Rio Olympics. This movie does just that, and I find it very interesting and very thoughtful in the conveying of the message. The animation resembles the comic really well, and the action scenes are drawn to perfection. Every detail is so finely tuned. The animation is awesome. You gotta check it out. The story is great, and the origin of the Justice League is represented really well. I definitely recommend that you check it out.
All of you, fight on! The last breath! Fight on!
Clark.
Number 9. Justice League: Crisis on Two Earths. Fun fact here, this film was supposed to be a movie to bridge the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited animated series. Isn't that awesome? That's so cool. Loosely based on the events in JLA Earth 2 and the comic Justice League of America: Crisis on Earth 3, this animated movie is about the Justice League taking on an alternate reality version of themselves in the crime syndicate. You meet Lex Luthor, who surprisingly is the hero from Earth 2, begging the Justice League for their help to stop the said syndicate. You then see the Justice League fighting their alternate selves. They're trying to stop Owlman, Batman's alternate self, from blowing up their universe. The animation is great, as well as the designs of each character. I really appreciate the way they are depicted in this story. Though I would have loved for this to be in the animation style of the Timiverse, you know, the Bruce Timm era of animation, like Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, the animation is definitely noteworthy and you must check it out. But the best part of this movie is the character Owlman, who is played by James Woods.
Good evening, everyone.
James Woods?
James Woods does a compelling job as the bored, almost lifeless Owlman who thinks that life is meaningless, predetermined, and doesn't really matter. I loved the performance that James Woods gave to this compelling character. The movie itself is great and I think you should watch it. It's definitely a must-see.
It doesn't matter. Clark.
Number 8. Batman: Assault on Arkham. Here's the story. Amanda Waller forms the Suicide Squad in order to infiltrate Arkham Asylum to take a thumb drive with very important info from the Riddler. You see Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Killer Frost, King Shark, Captain Boomerang, and Black Spider work together in order to accomplish the mission and avoid death. They also have to deal with the Joker along the way, as well as the Dark Knight himself. The movie was full of comedy, action, and suspense, and that definitely puts this movie in the top 10. What makes this movie so cool is that the animation is based off the Arkham Asylum video games. Each character looks like the exact 2D copies of the 3D video game characters, and that's awesome. Also, the voice acting is great. Kevin Conroy reprises his role as the greatest Batman ever. Gosh. Tara Strong does a great job as the new Harley Quinn. Troy Baker does a surprisingly great impression of Mark Hamill's Joker as the Joker. And Neil McDonough, man, what a perfect Deadshot. The story is full of cliffhangers, suspense, and tons of comedic action. I think this is probably one of the funniest DC animated films I've ever seen. It's also the only DC animated movie that stars the bad guys. Well, other than that one new DC animated movie. Well, we'll get to that, but definitely check it out. Unfortunately, this is the kind of film that people wanted to see this year for the Suicide Squad movie, and that's why this is in the top 10.
Go ahead. You're out of bullets.
I am not!
You are. You're gonna pull the trigger, and when nothing happens, I'm gonna punch you in the throat and bash your brains out. 3, 2, 1.
Hold on, stop counting for a second. I know there are bullets.
Clark.
Number 7. Justice League War.
Wait here. I got this. No offense. You just get in the way. Here's the plan. Green Lantern kicks Superman's ass. TMZ's got the video.
Another story about how the Justice League formed. Superman, Green Lantern, Batman, The Flash, Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel, and Cyborg join forces in order to stop Darkseid from taking over the world. In this film, you see how each superhero was introduced to each other and what kind of superhero each one represents. Batman is the calm, calculating hero who thinks about everything that will happen. Green Lantern is a full of himself superhero that believes he needs to be the one to save the day and be the true hero. Wonder Woman is the hero who tries to protect everyone, even though everyone in the public eye doesn't believe that she should be protecting anything. Cyborg and Captain Marvel are just two young heroes who try to cope with saving the world. Superman is basically Jesus, and the Flash is just there to protect people. Enough said. Everyone has a convincing and heartfelt story to their character. The interactions they have with each other are absolutely hilarious and very charming. The comedy in this film actually eclipses Assault on Arkham because of the sheer sarcasm and irony that this is added to the mix. These heroes don't act like a team at all throughout most of the film, and it leads to some awesome comedy. The animation is crisp and smooth, the action scenes are so fluid and awesome that you can't keep your eyes away from the screen. It's that detailed and that epically awesome. The characters are likable and they play off each other flawlessly. I think this is one of DC's best
You're pretty
films.
south of normal, Spooky. You know that, right?
My name is Bruce Wayne. When I was 10, my parents were murdered in front of my eyes. I've spent my life training to fight the same sort of criminals that took them from me. But this is different. This isn't about me.
You're telling me this why?
This is bigger than I am, and it's bigger than you are. Get out of your own way. Focus on what's important here. Everyone else.
Clark.
Number 6.
Each
Justice
have a personal
League
vendetta
Doom.
against the Justice League. Their deaths would serve my goals.
Here's a story for you. Batman made plans to get rid of the Justice League in case every superhero goes rogue, even himself. Some supervillains get a hold of it and try to kill each member of the Justice League. Such an awesome story for an awesome animated movie. Knowing that Batman made such a contingency plan adds so much volume to Batman's character. He doesn't know what will happen in the future, so he makes plans to take out anyone that would threaten the world, even his own team and even himself. The clever ideas and ways to take out the Justice League are so thought out that you kind of want to see them die. And I know that sounds very blasphemous and very weird, but you kind of want to see how it plays out. This movie is voice acted to perfection, with the original cast of Justice League Unlimited reprising their roles in the film. Kevin Conroy, Tim Daly, Susan Eisenberg, Carl Lumbry, and Michael Rosenbaum, to name a few. The animation works well with the story, and the action scenes look so spectacular that it adds much more prestige to the film itself. I'm glad that I was able to watch this film because I got to dive in further in the mind of the Dark Knight that we all love. The ending is pure gold and so iconic that you have to see it. I can't tell you enough that the ending is pure gold. You won't regret it.
A possible misuse of our power.
We use our power to protect the world. We always have.
And what if we ever used it for some other purpose? If you people can't see the potential danger of an out-of-control Justice League, I don't need to wait for a vote. I don't belong here.
Clark.
Number 5? The Dark Knight Returns.
Gotham City belongs to the Batman.
Batman. Darling.
Based on the Frank Miller comic of the same name, the animated adaptation to this comic definitely represented the heart, the pain, the torment, and the overall greatness that this comic gave to people. It was definitely fan service made to perfection, and this was probably one of the most anticipated DC animated movies and the most anticipated animation adaptation next to The Killing Joke. And we'll get to that later, but this movie did not disappoint at all. The animation definitely plays homage to the original graphic novel, making it a smoother brother to the novel. It was definitely everything a fan wanted to see in this adaptation. The voice acting is well executed. Peter Weller does a convincing performance as the aged Bruce Wayne. David Selby steals the show as the hopeful ex-commissioner James Gordon, and Michael Emerson does a chilling version of the Joker, one of the best versions that I've ever seen. And just watching Batman take on Superman in this animated epic was pure awesomeness. I loved every minute of this fight, and it is definitely one of the best moments in DC animated history. This movie is definitely one of the best films that DC has ever made, hands down.
But I didn't have to go easy on you. A different binding agent, a stronger mix. I want you to remember that. I wanted to remind you to stay out of my way. In all the years to come, in your most private moments, I want you to remember the one man who beat you. Clark.
Number 4. Justice League, the Flashpoint Paradox.
I love what you've done with the place. This is all your fault.
So people are always wondering, if I could change what I did in the past, I would probably be better off right now, wouldn't I? Well, why don't you ask Barry Allen about that topic? When Barry goes back in time to save his mother from dying, the world is in utter chaos and on the brink of destruction. That's some great food for thought, isn't it? This movie is based on one of the most important comics of the same name. It's because of this comic that we have the New 52 series. What makes this movie stand out is the story. Just seeing that Barry's overall happiness could cause the world to end is a very heavy topic to take. You get to see Batman as Thomas Wayne instead of Bruce, Superman never saved the day, and Cyborg works directly with the president. It's a crazy timeline that I am honestly surprised by. Batman in this universe definitely steals the show. Not only is he more ruthless, but he uses the weapons that Bruce refuses to use in our universe, guns, which makes him a very more edgier Batman. You definitely get a different Batman than what we're used to. The animation itself may seem kind of weird from the outside, but the action scenes, the character designs, the landscapes, and the overall emotion put into the movie definitely separates it from other animated movies. It is a movie that definitely ended in a flash.
Clark.
Number 3. Batman, Mask of the Phantasm.
He's heading for the construction site!
Now, this movie has been considered one of, if not the greatest, Batman movie of all time. Yeah, Tim Burton's Batman and The Dark Knight are great, but this film is still considered, to this day, a masterpiece. Based in the same universe as the original Batman the Animated Series, the animation is definitely improved from the show because of the bigger budget that they had. The scenery is breathtaking and the movie is just put on a much larger scale. The character designs are still the same as the show, but they are drawn so much better than the show. You definitely see the detail. The action scenes are also flawless. Add the original voice cast of Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, and you got gold. What makes this movie stand out to the other movies of Batman is Bruce Wayne's story. You don't really ask yourself about Bruce Wayne, you only think of Batman. But in this story, Bruce finally finds a woman who makes him happy. You see as this new character starts to get rid of the darkness inside of him. Now we've seen that in a bunch of superheroes and they end up fine and living happily ever after. But with Bruce, he feels guilty for having these feelings. He's guilty because he doesn't think he deserves the happy life that he has because his parents were taken away. That's a huge concept to think about. If Bruce Wayne doesn't feel right being happy, then he goes back to avenging the loss of his parents by being Batman. This movie was stunning, the story was second to none. Also, this was the movie where Mark Hamill finally discovered the Joker's laugh. And yet this movie is still number 3. It is a fantastic masterpiece that I kind of wish I saw in movie theaters when I was younger.
Clark.
Number 2. Batman, Under the Red Hood.
Like it hurt a lot more. So, let's try and clear this up, okay, Pumpkin?
Funny how one of the most tragic deaths in Batman's history was all because the fans voted him off. Yeah, they voted for this guy to die, and yet they're still surprised about it. Well, this story is about the death of Jason Todd, the second Robin, and how he is resurrected and becomes the vigilante known as the Red Hood, who kills in order to protect people, all while Batman is trying to save Jason from this life of torment and revenge. I loved this movie so much because not only do you dive right into the mind of Bruce Wayne himself and the guilt he has for the death of Jason, but you see the side of a ghost who is asking the question, why didn't you avenge me? Why is the killer still alive? Didn't I matter? And this movie proves that something and sometimes revenge guides you to a path that turns you into the person you despise. You live long enough to see yourself become a villain? That quote definitely represents this movie. The voice acting is top notch. Bruce Greenwood does an exceptional job as the experienced Bruce Wayne. Jensen Ackles kills it as the Red Hood. Neil Patrick Harris. Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris does a surprisingly good job as Nightwing, and John DiMaggio probably does the second greatest Joker performance in an animated movie, cartoon, anything. His Joker is 10 times more cunning, calm, and psychotic than any Joker I've ever heard. He definitely steals the show, and yet he's the second best Joker. That's crazy. The animation is crisp, smooth, and extremely well done. This movie is the absolute best DC Universe original animated movie ever made, but it's still not enough to be my favorite DC movie.
I don't know what clouds your judgment worse, your guilt or your antiquated sense of morality. Bruce, I forgive you for not saving me. But why? Why on God's earth is he still alive?
Clark.
Well, let's soar into some honorable mentions. Justice League, Gods and Monsters. Because the animation is based on the Timiverse, Bruce Timm, and the story is really good, I wish I could put this in my top 10 so bad. It has every element that I like in a superhero movie. Each character is highlighted in the best possible way, and you really connect with each one. It's that good. It's definitely one of my favorites. Batman Year One. The story about Batman and Jim Gordon's first year in Gotham is one of the most unique stories in Batman's history, and this film definitely conveys it in a way that is exciting and much more calm than you could possibly imagine. There's so many slow, tender moments to high-paced action, it's crazy, and it's also based on the comic of the same name. I was very surprised by Bryan Cranston's performance of Jim Gordon. Definitely check it out. Superman Doomsday. One of the most famous comics of all time saw Superman actually dying. And this movie captures the raw emotion and action that was created because of Doomsday. I liked the portrayals of each character and the animation was well drawn. You should definitely check it out. Son of Batman. The introduction to Damian Wayne into the DC animated universe was a long time coming. The portrayal of the spawn of Bruce Wayne is so unique, confident, and completely badass that you love him more and more when you see him on the big screen. We see so many movies in the DC animated universe nowadays that star him, and I want to see more, but this is definitely the best Damian Wayne animated movie. Batman: The Killing Joke. Okay, wait. Before everyone in the comments says I am crazy and absolutely ludicrous, let me quickly explain. This movie could have been in my top 10 if the first 30 minutes of the film about Batgirl would have been removed. Yeah, that scene is weird. Yes, Batgirl has sex with Batman. It's kind of awkward. You were waiting for the actual movie to start. It was a disappointment. It was crazy, but overall, after that, literally everything's perfect. From the comic to the movie, I was reading the comic as I was watching the movie, and I was definitely impressed. Get rid of that 30 minutes, and it would definitely be in my top 10.
Clark.
And the #1 best DC animated movie of all time is Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker.
Joker's back in town!
Okay, wait. Calm down. Just relax. Take a deep breath with me. Just take a deep breath before you give me your opinions in the comments about my first choice. Just hear me out. Let me make my case. Batman Beyond is the story about Bruce Wayne being too old to fight crime, and now there needs to be a new Batman. We find that in Terry McGinnis, who is a former juvenile delinquent who was also part of a gang when he was young and had many altercations with the police. First off, I think that's a genius idea to find a former thug to be Batman. He wants to be a better person, and he wants to be the hero that Gotham needs. So he works with Bruce Wayne as he balances his school life and saving Gotham City by taking on the mantle of the Batman. This film is based on the animated series of the same name, which is probably one of the most underrated superhero shows of all time. I loved every minute of this show, adding a new story to the famed Batman story. When I was a kid, honestly, this was probably my favorite portrayal of Batman. Yes, I was naive growing up, but I loved this show and I definitely loved this movie. The movie is about how the Joker comes back to Gotham to cause mayhem just like the old days. And the crazy thing is, everything is showing that it is the exact same Joker that Bruce Wayne had to deal with so many years ago. Cope with the fact that Bruce is also going through medical issues, you see the past of Bruce and Barbara that led to this situation, and you see the emotional strain that this villain has on everyone involved with him. Terry is tested to his absolute limits and does everything and anything to figure out who the Joker really is and how to stop all the violence. The animation is so smooth and flawless that I have no problem with any of the scenes animated. There are some scenes in animated movies where I thought it could have been done better, but this movie has no mistakes at all. The voice acting is definitely first in its class. Not only do you have the same cast of characters as the original show, Kevin Conroy, Will Freddy, Angie Harmon, and Melissa Joan Hart, but Mark Hamill reprises his role as the Joker, who came back from the dead. And to be honest, this is probably the best Mark Hamill performance of the Joker. Yes, Mask of the Phantasm is where Mark found his Joker laugh, but I think this movie was when Mark perfected his Joker laugh. Everything the Joker says in this movie is absolute gold. He even delivers one of the most chilling monologues that I ever heard in a Batman movie.
I know everything. And kinda like the kid who peeks at his Christmas presents, I must admit, it's sadly anticlimactic. Behind all the sturm and batarangs, you're just a little boy in a play suit crying for mommy and daddy. It'd be funny if it weren't so pathetic. No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.
This movie captures everything I love about Batman. It has the insanity of the Killing Joke, the raw emotion of The Dark Knight Returns, and the overall heart of the animated series, and the pure awesomeness that is Batman. And this is why I think that Return of the Joker is the best DC animated movie. DC animated movies are awesome, aren't they? Though most of my picks are Batman related, I think that the other films that weren't mentioned in this video are also very good. There are so many movies based on this comic book company that it's hard to rank all of them together. I recommend that you watch every single one of them and see which ones are your favorites as well.
Something to wear in a very big truck.
Sure. Anything else?
I'll need some guys. Not these guys, because, well, they're kind of dead.
So those are my top 10 DC animated movies of all time. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If I missed any, if you liked my list, if you have a list, comment below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe this video. Also check out all my other previous videos if you want to see more of this guy. And, you know, follow me on the Twitter. Here. And remember, thank you so much for watching Dom's Reviews.
I am darkness. I am the night. I am Batman.
Bah! I am the Batman. I am the Batman. 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 This is awkwardly hilarious.